Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's tutorial I'll be showing you how to crochet this gorgeous chevron pattern. This is a very easy stitch pattern to do. It's quite beginner friendly as well. This pattern has other names as well. It's called the wave pattern, the ripple pattern, and there's so many names for this, but it's basically the same thing wherein our stitches align in sort of like a wave format. This pattern is gorgeous for making scarves or shawls, even blankets. You can use this pattern for pretty much any project that you like. So in this tutorial I'll show you in detail how to make this pattern. Also I have a bonus for my subscribers. At the end of the tutorial I'll show you how to modify the pattern. Okay, how to modify the pattern in case you want to make your waves or the ripples, okay, larger or smaller. Okay, so I'll show you how to calculate the multiples and how to make the foundation chain in case you want to modify this particular pattern to your liking. Okay, so if this is something you would like to learn how to crochet, then please keep watching. In this tutorial, I'll be using a 4mm size crochet hook and the yarn corresponding to the size of my hook. You may use whichever crochet hook size is available to you. Just make sure that the yarn you use corresponds to your hook size. Alright, so to begin this pattern, you need to start by making a simple slip knot. Now you can make your slip knot whichever way you prefer. Okay. So here I've made my slip knot and now we're ready to make a foundation chain. So for this particular pattern, we'll be making a foundation chain in the multiples of 11. Okay, so you can make your foundation chain however short or however long as you would like, depending on the project you're working on. Okay, just make sure that the total number of chains that you make is a multiple of 11. Okay. So for the sake of the tutorial, I'll be making a foundation chain of 33 chains. Okay. Now to make your foundation chain, the first thing you need to do is make sure your hook is facing up, like so. Okay, the hook is facing up, it's facing you. And then all you need to do is place your hook beneath your yarn like so, making a twist of yarn on your hook. Pull your hook down, automatically grabbing your yarn. Okay, pull it down and pull it all the way through like so. Okay, so this right here is chain 1. So you're going to repeat this again and again. So again, make your hook facing up like so, place your hook beneath your yarn, pull your hook down, grabbing your yarn, pull it down and pull it all the way through. Okay, so this is chain 2. So you're just going to repeat that again and again till you get the total number of chains that you require. Okay, just make sure that the total number is a multiple of 11. So you may pause the video here if you need to, and I'll show you how to begin your row of stitches. So here I've completed my foundation chain. Okay, I've made a total number of 33 chains, which is a multiple of 11, so we are good to go. Okay, once you've made that, you're going to add 2 more chains, okay, to complete your foundation chain. You're just going to add 2 more chains at the end before you move on to row 1. Okay, don't worry about these 2 chains, they are just going to count as your side stitch. So once you've made your initial foundation chain, which is a multiple of 11, after that you add 2 more chains. So I'm just going to add 2 more chains at the end, and now we are done with our foundation chain. One thing to notice when you're working on this pattern is that the initial length of your foundation chain will reduce as you'll be working your rows of stitches. This is because the pattern is a chevron pattern, so your foundation chain will sort of bend like so to form the shape of the pattern. So because of that, keep in mind that your initial length will definitely reduce as you'll be working the rows of stitches. Okay, so now let's move on to row 1. For row 1, we are going to start by making 2 single crochet stitches into the second chain space from our hook. Okay, if you're not quite sure where your second chain space is, all you need to do is count backwards from your hook. And when you do that, you're not going to count this loop on your hook. Rather, you're going to start counting from the one below this. So this one right here will be chain 1 and here is chain 2. So into the second chain space, we'll be working 2 single crochet stitches. Now when I say single crochet, I'm using the US term. In the UK, this will be your double crochet stitch. Alright, so to make a single crochet, all you need to do is insert your hook into that second chain space like so. Grab your yarn, pull it through, making 2 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through both these loops. Okay, so this is one single crochet right here. We're going to go back into the same chain space and work another single crochet. Okay, so I'm going to insert my hook back into that same chain space that we just worked into. Grab our yarn, pull it through, 2 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through both the loops. Okay, so now we've worked another single crochet into the same chain space. Now what we're going to be doing is we'll be working 1 single crochet each into the next 4 chains. So into the next 4 chain spaces, we're going to be working 1 single crochet each. So now what we need to do is basically identify our next chain space. So if you see carefully, this space that's opened up is where we worked our 2 single crochets just now. Okay, so we're just going to go to the next chain space. That's this space right here. We'll be working 1 single crochet into the next one, another single crochet, next one, 1 single crochet, and into the next one, 1 single crochet. Okay, so I'm just going to insert my hook into the next chain space, grab my yarn, pull it through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through both these loops. Okay, so that's 1 single crochet. Now I'll move on to the next chain space and work another single crochet. Move to the next chain space and work another single crochet. And into the next one, 1 single crochet. Alright, so we worked 1 single crochet each into the next 4 chain spaces. Okay, so this is how our row 1 will look like so far. Right, now the next thing we are going to do is we are going to skip the next 2 chains. So the next 2 chains, that's this one here and this one here, we are going to skip these 2 chains and move to the next one. Okay, and here in the next 4 chains we'll be working 1 single crochet each again. Okay, so what we basically did here, so just make sure that you're skipping 2 chain spaces in between. So I'm going to skip this one and I'm going to skip this one and work into the next space here. So I'll be working 1 single crochet here, then moving on to the next chain space, this one here, I'll be working 1 single crochet, into the next chain space, 1 single crochet, and into the next one, 1 single crochet. Alright, so now if you see carefully, you're sort of getting the first part of your pattern, right? You're getting the sort of dip where we skip those 2 chains. So this is how your pattern is going to form. This is going to be the low part of your chevron, the wave, okay? The dip of your wave, okay? Where we skip the 2 chains. Right, now into the next chain space, we'll be working 3 single crochet stitches. Okay, we are going to be working 3 single crochet into the next chain space here. Okay, so after we've done this set of single crochets here, Okay, the 1 single crochet into each of your 4 chain spaces. The next chain space here will be working 3 single crochet stitches. So I'm going to insert my hook into the next chain space, grab my yarn, pull it through, yarn over, pull through both the loops. That's 1 single crochet. Go back into that same space, work 1 single crochet, and then go back again into the same space and work 1 more single crochet. So we worked 3 single crochet into that chain space there. Okay, so this will form the peak of your chevron, the peak of your wave. So see how the foundation chain is folding up and how you're getting the shape of the pattern. Okay, so this is basically your repeat pattern. You're going to be repeating this all the way till the end of your foundation chain. Okay, this is the basic gist of your pattern. So I'll just show it to you again. So after these 3 single crochets that we did here, now into the next 4 chains, okay, into the next 4 chain spaces, we'll be working 1 single crochet each. Okay, so I'm going to move to the next chain space and work 1 single crochet, next chain space, 1 single crochet, into the next chain space, another single crochet, and the next one, 1 single crochet. Okay, so that sort of forms the, we are going down the hill like that. Okay, and now we're going to form the dip of our pattern. So for the dip, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be skipping the next 2 chains. Okay, so once we've done this set of single crochets here, the next thing we're going to do is skip these 2 chains to form that dip. Okay, and then into the next 4 we'll be working again 1 single crochet each. So again, I hope I'm not confusing you. So here we're going to skip these 2 chains. Okay, this is the one that we just worked into, right? So we're going to skip the next 2, and then into the next 4 chain spaces we'll be working 1 single crochet each. Okay, so I'm just going to insert my hook here. All right, work 1 single crochet, into the next chain space, 1 single crochet, into the next one, 1 single crochet, and into the next one, 1 single crochet. All right, so now we formed the part of our wave. This is how our row 1 should look like. So you must have got the gist of the pattern. It's quite simple actually, right? Now we reached the top part of our wave and we have to form that peak, right? So into the next chain space we'll be working 3 single crochet stitches, right? So into the next chain space we'll work 3 single crochet stitches to make the peak of our wave. So that's basically the pattern. You're just going to repeat this, what we did so far. You're just going to repeat that again and again till you reach the end of your foundation chain. Okay, and I'll show you how to finish your row 1. So just continue this pattern. So once you've made the peak, now we are going down the hill, right? So we'll be working 1 single crochet each into the next 4 chains, right? Then we're going to skip 2 chains to form the valley, to form the dip, and then again work 1 single crochet into the next 4. Then after that you're going to form the peak, and so on. Okay, so just you can pause the video here, just continue with your stitches, and I'll show you how to end your row 1. So here I've reached the end of my row 1. Okay, and as you can see, I have one extra chain space left on my foundation chain. So don't panic, that's how it's supposed to be. You will have one chain space left at the end, and into that last chain space we'll be working 2 single crochet stitches. Okay, so work 2 single crochet stitches into your last chain space to complete your row 1. Okay, like so. So here we've completed our row 1, and you can see the pattern forming. Okay, so you have your peaks here and your dips or your valley here. Okay, so you've got that shape happening. Now let's move on to row 2. To begin row 2, you're going to start by making a simple chain 1. Okay, you're going to start by making a chain 1, and then you're going to turn your project like so. Okay, and into the first stitch space, that's this space right here, we'll be working 2 single crochet stitches. One tip that I can give you here is that in this particular pattern, no matter which row you're working on, you're always going to start by making 2 single crochets into the first stitch space, and you're going to end the row by making 2 single crochets into the last stitch space. Make sense? You're always going to start with 2 single crochet and end with 2 single crochet. Okay, so here into the first stitch space we'll be working 2 single crochet stitches. So I'm just going to insert my hook here. Okay, work 1 single crochet first, then go back into that same space and work 1 more single crochet. Okay, so here I worked my 2 single crochets into the first stitch space. Now we'll be doing basically the same thing that we did in the first row. Okay, into the next 4 stitch spaces we'll be working 1 single crochet each. Okay, so 1 single crochet each into the next 4 stitch spaces. So I'm going to move to the next stitch space and work 1 single crochet into the next stitch space, 1 single crochet into the next one, 1 single crochet, and into the next one, 1 single crochet. Okay, right, now we'll be forming the dip of our wave. Okay, the valley, right? So you're going to do the same thing that we did for row 1, always to form the dip or the valley of the pattern. Okay, we are going to be skipping 2 chains or 2 stitch spaces. Okay, so once you're going to skip these 2 to form the dip, and then go into the next stitch space, so your third stitch space, work 1 single crochet, move to the next stitch space, work 1 single crochet, into the next stitch space, work 1 single crochet, and into the next one we work 1 single crochet. Okay, so basically what we did in row 1, right? So as you can see now that the pattern is forming quite well, right? The dip is always going to coincide with the dip of the previous row. Okay, so where we skip the 2 chains. Now we've reached the peak of our wave, right? The top part of our chevron pattern. So into the next stitch space here we'll be working 3 single crochet stitches. Okay, we'll be working 3 single crochets into the next one to form the peak of our wave or the top part of the chevron pattern. All right, so one thing, if you see carefully, one thing you'll notice is that whenever we make the peak, it's also going to coincide with the peak from the previous row. Okay, it's going to align together, right? So the peak stitch that we just made here, okay, the peak stitch, that is your 3 single crochet stitches here, it's always going to be into the stitch space at the center of the previous peak. Okay, the peak from the previous row. Okay, makes sense? So if you see carefully here, this space opening up here was the peak stitch from our previous row, where we have our 3 single crochet stitches here, right? So right above the second single crochet stitch from those 3 will be the same stitch space where we worked the peak stitch for this row. Make sense? Okay. If you didn't get that, that's fine. Once you do a few rows of stitches of this pattern, then you'll understand what I'm trying to say. Okay. So once you've done with that and you've got the peak part of your wave pattern, right? We've got the 3 single crochet stitches. Now we are basically going to repeat the same thing all the way till the end for row 2. Okay, so into the next stitch space we'll be working 1 single crochet. Okay, into the next one 1 single crochet, into the next stitch space 1 single crochet, and into the next one 1 single crochet. Okay, so once you finished your peak stitch, into the next 4 stitch spaces we'll be working 1 single crochet each. Okay, 1 single crochet each into the next 4 stitch spaces, and then we'll be working our next dip or the next valley of our pattern. Okay, and for doing that you do the same thing that we did so far. You're going to skip the 2 stitch spaces. So here I've reached that the part of my dip. Okay, so after I finish these single crochets here, I'm going to skip the next 2. So I'm going to skip these 2 chain spaces, this one and this one, and I'm going to move to the next one and work my next 4 stitch spaces. I'll be working 1 single crochet each. Okay, so I'm going to skip these 2, move straight into the next stitch space here, working my dip. So 1 single crochet into the next stitch space, 1 single crochet to the next one, 1 single crochet, and into the next 1 single crochet. Okay, so into the next 4 stitch spaces we worked 1 single crochet after we skipped 2 for our dip. Okay, so this is how our pattern's going to be. So you're just going to repeat this again and again till you reach the end of your row 2. Okay, so here I've reached the end of my row 2. Okay, and as you can see I've got 1 last stitch space left here, and as I've mentioned earlier, we are always going to start and end each row in this pattern by working 2 single crochet stitches. Okay, so we are going to end this row 2 by working 2 single crochet stitches into that last stitch space as well. Okay, so 1 single crochet, going back and working 1 more. Alright, so this completes our row 2, and now we can move on to row 3. Okay, so basically this is how your pattern is going to work. You're just going to be repeating these 2 rows again and again till you get the height of the project that you're working on. Okay, so I'll quickly show this whole thing to you again. So for row 3 again, you're going to start by doing the same thing we did for row 2. You're going to chain 1 and turn your project first. Okay, and then we're going to start the row by working 2 single crochet stitches into the first stitch space. And then we're going to work 1 single crochet each into the next 4 stitch spaces. Okay, to go down the hill. So we're going to work 1 single crochet each into the next 4 stitch spaces. And then to form the dip of our wave, okay, the lower part of our wave, we are going to skip the next 2 chains. So we are going to skip these 2 chains. So this, we are going to skip the next 2 stitch spaces. Okay, and then we'll be going up the hill. So we'll be working 1 single crochet into the next 4. So after skipping these 2 chains, always identify your chains or your stitch spaces. Okay, so this is the one we last worked into, right? So we're going to skip these 2. and then work 1 single crochet each into the next 4. And then to form the peak of our chevron pattern, into the next stitch space, which is basically the center of the peak stitch from the previous row. Okay, so into the next stitch space we'll be working 3 single crochet stitches. And then we're going to basically repeat what we did so far. Okay, so here I've reached the end of my row 3. Okay, and as you can see, we have 1 stitch space left here, and you're basically going to do the same thing. You're going to be working 2 single crochet stitches into that last stitch space as well. Okay, so I'm just going to be working 2 single crochet stitches into my last stitch space to complete my row 3 as well. Okay, so you may repeat these rows again and again till you get the height of the project that you're working on. The pattern is going to be the same. Okay, and once you're at the end of your project, to finish off your project, all you need to do is chain 1 at the end of the row. Okay, grab your scissors, leave a little bit of yarn to sew in the ends, and cut off your yarn, and then you're just going to pull through, tighten the nose, and sew in your ends. Okay, so here I'll quickly show you how I came up with the pattern, so that if you want, you can modify your waves or your chevron pattern to your liking as well. What I mean by that is you can increase your waves, like the diagonal part of your waves. You can increase it or decrease it as per your liking. So the math related to that is, I'll try to make it as simple as possible. So what I'll first show you how I got my pattern for this tutorial. So if you remember, in this tutorial I've put 4 stitches on the diagonal part. So if you remember, I've made 4 stitches on this diagonal part here, then my peak stitch, 4 stitches on the diagonal part down, and the dip stitch or the valley stitch, right? So I've got 4 stitches on either side of my hill, right? So for the diagonal part, I have 4 stitches on either side, so that's 4 plus 4. Okay, and then I'm going to add 3. So 3 is the magic number here. Okay, so 4 on each side, so 4 stitches here plus 4 stitches here plus the 3. Okay, that is basically our peak stitch. So that equals to 8 plus 3, 11. So that is how I came up with the multiples of 11 for the foundation chain. Okay, so my foundation chain was any multiple of 11. Okay, and at the end I'm just going to add 2 chains. Okay, that was how I showed you in this particular tutorial. Now for instance, if you wanted your wave to be larger, or you want the diagonal part of your chevron stitch to be larger, for instance, if I wanted to make it 5 or 6 stitches instead of 4, what I'm going to be doing is the diagonal part. Okay, your diagonal part will be 5 plus 5. Okay, if I want to make it 5 stitches instead of 4, so 5 plus 5, 10, plus 3. So you're always going to add 3. Okay, so 5 plus 5, 10, 10 plus 3, 13. So my foundation chain in that case would be a multiple of 13. Okay, so I would make my foundation chain in the multiples of 13 and then add 2 at the end of my foundation chain. Make sense? I hope this makes sense. So another example, in case I wanted to make 6 stitches for each side. So instead of 4 stitches as I showed in this tutorial, I want to make 6 stitches on each side of my diagonal. I want my chevron to be larger. Okay, so in that case what I would do is I would work this formula. So I'll be doing 6 on either side, so 6 plus 6 and plus 3, that's the magic number. Okay, so 6 plus 6, 12, 12 plus 3, 15. Okay, so my foundation chain should be a multiple of 15. Okay, so I'm going to make my foundation chain the length I want with a multiple of 15, and then at the end I'll be adding my 2 chains. So you're always going to add 2 chains no matter what size you want your waves to be. Okay, just the multiples will change. So because I wanted 4 on each side, my foundation chain was a multiple of 11. If I want my wave stitches, if I wanted the diagonal part of my waves, when I mean my diagonal part is this part, okay, this part. If I wanted 5 stitches, then I would do it as a multiple of 13. If I wanted 6 stitches, I would do it as a multiple of 15, and so on. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. This is how I've calculated the foundation chain. So I hope this helps in modifying the pattern as per your liking. So this is the end of my tutorial. I hope this tutorial was informative and easy to follow. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked my tutorial. Leave in your comments and suggestions. I always love hearing from you guys. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It's free. All you need to do is click on the red button below the video. And if you want to be notified whenever I post a tutorial, you can click on the bell button just beside it. Okay? So I guess that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful day ahead. God bless, and I'll see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye.